with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So the wedding is over. It is officially fucking done now. The last event was last night. It was cool. It was fun, but everyone is sick to death of fucking weddings now, so no one really gives a shit. So I'm like, what a fucking relief. All there is now is my daughter's birthday in like 3 days or 4 days, whenever the fuck it is. And then to Tirupati, to the fucking temple to shave her head. And then I'm free. But then I got reminded this morning, I completely forgot that after someone gets married, all the aunties and uncles and fucking tuk-tuk drivers and chai sellers and samosa guys, everyone wants to take the married couple out for dinner. So now it's just going around to people's houses, which I'm going to do 2 houses for dinner and lunch or whatever the fuck they want to do. I went to like 10 or 12 fucking lunches after I got married. It was insane. I had to put a stop to it in the end. I was like, no more fucking lunches. Don't agree to any more fucking lunches. So I'll do 2 of these, but after that I'm checking out. I don't give a fuck who I offend. I am not going to every single fucking dinner or lunch. So we're going out to dinner tonight. There's another one tomorrow, and there's another one the following day. These are all booked in. I don't want to go to any of them. This has been the never-ending fucking wedding. Every time you think you're fucking at the end of it, something else pops up. It wasn't as bad at my wedding because my side of the family didn't give a shit about anything. There was no tradition on my side of the family. So all the auspicious bullshit was just on one side, and I just went with the flow of everything. I didn't care. But even for me, even being a fat fuck back then, it was a bit much going out for lunch or dinner every single day for 2 weeks and just fucking hogging. But it was fun though. I have to admit, it was pretty fun. It was probably equal amounts fun as it was tiring and annoying. The worst part for me at these events is that everyone knows who I am because I stick out. I'm like a tall white guy. Everyone remembers meeting me. They know when they met me. They know who I am. So I'm getting like hundreds of people coming up to me who I don't recognize at all. Even if I've met them like 5, 6 times, they look exactly like the next Indian to me. If my wife's standing next to me to jog my memory, then I'm all right. But if she's not there and they come up and say hi, I don't know if they're some politician or they're the fucking waiter. So I just treat them all equally. I treat them all like the waiter. I'm like, get the fuck away from me. Can't you see I'm busy? A couple of times last night, I thought I knew who the person was and was completely fucking wrong. A guy sat next to me last night for a minute and he was really familiar with me. And I recognized his face a little bit, but I couldn't fucking put who the fuck he was. So then I took a guess. I thought he was the dentist that did my teeth last year or the year before, whenever the fuck it was, who I went to play cricket with. It's fucking weird that that was at the start of 2020. And if you went back to the start of 2020 in this podcast, you'd know who I'm talking about. It's all down there. That's weird to me now. Anyway, this guy, I thought he was the dentist. So I start speaking to him and I'm like, how's things? And I'm like, you're still playing? As in, you're still playing cricket? And he gave me like this bemused, like half nod. Like he had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. And then I realized it wasn't the cricket playing dentist. So I followed it up with a little bit of mumbling. So I'm like, oh, yeah, oh, so, yeah. Just anything. I just mumbled something to throw him off the scent that I had no idea who the fuck he was. Then later in the night, actually, when I was coming home, I realized who it was. It was the builder who I had been in like 3 fights with about the leaky roof. I couldn't recognize him when I wasn't yelling at him. The other thing I did last night, which was a big mistake, before the fucking food came out, I got a little bit hungry. So I'm like, I wouldn't mind having a little bit of a snack. So I went back behind the scenes where all the cooking was being done and the food was beautiful. The food last night was fucking good. But I tell you what, you do not want to see behind the scenes in Indian cooking, especially when they're trying to cater for between like 500 to 1,000 people. There's a lot of people back there. There wasn't a lot of masks. I didn't see a lot of hygiene control back there. Most of them were wearing lungis, and if you look up what a lungi is, it's basically their balls are hanging out. It was a sight. You don't need to see it. That's some advice for you. Don't look behind the scenes of what's going on in Indian cooking. You don't need to see it. Just enjoy your food and pretend in your head there's a nice, clean, industrial kitchen out the back. They're not just cooking shit on the concrete and leaving it on the concrete floor. The same place where the rats are running around. You don't need to see that. Just enjoy your fucking meal. Anyway, that's it. The wedding's over. Thank Christ for that. Or Shiva or Govinda or any of them. It's done, and let's move on to this week's Ask Boyle. So if you have a question or a hypothetical or anything you need answered by yours truly, send it in via email to boylecomedy@gmail.com or send it into the Patreon if you're a Patreon subscriber. If not, the links are in my social media bios, or you can just message me directly and I'll send you the link. So this week's Ask Boyle was sent in to the Patreon by my man Adam. So Adam's question is, what are your thoughts on stopping drinking and spiritual awakening? That's the question, but I'll read the rest of the shit he wrote. If you look at the AA literature, they make a big thing of this in a Christian sense. That's probably the most well-known example. But even in other ex-addicts, if they don't become born-again Christians, there does often seem to be some kind of spiritual aspect of it. They often take up yoga, meditation. They even seem to have a heightened vulnerability to cults. I know you're a fan of Jordan Peterson, and in one of his long interviews with Russell Brand, they both essentially agreed that overcoming addictions required a spiritual awakening, whatever that might be. What do you make of it? Well, Adam, you have come to the right place. Well, I was always that way inclined, regardless of some sort of fucking awakening. So I never had like a huge spiritual epiphany or anything like that. But the idea of this spiritual awakening thing, I think it's less a spiritual awakening as in you found God or some shit like that, and more some sort of tool to give your life some sort of meaning. Like if you have no meaning in your life, it's very hard to propel yourself forward. So if you were someone with no meaning at all, God would be a good tool to use to give yourself some meaning. Whether you believe in God or not, God seems to be the best tool we've come up with so far to give your life some meaning. I mean, en masse. God, spirituality, that sort of shit, it scales. It scales much better and it's much easier to use than something you come up with yourself. I mean, you can try and come up with something yourself and you might be successful. So it takes a little bit of the hard work out of it and it's a path well traveled. But I don't think you necessarily need the spiritual awakening per se, but you certainly need to find some fucking meaning in your life. I would go as far as saying that I wouldn't even bother trying to give up the booze until I've found something meaningful I want to pursue. And if you look deep into yourself and you can't find anything meaningful that you truly want to pursue, then I don't see anything wrong with just hitting up some fucking good old-fashioned fucking religion. It's not my thing, but I don't see anything fucking wrong with it. Besides the extremes of religion and shit like that, you know what I'm talking about. Religions are fucked as well. Like the priests fucking the kids, like the Muslims bombing shit, like the Jews just being Jews in general. But the religious ideas, the foundations of most religions are all the same. The ideas are the same. The hero's journey type of ideas. They're sound. Be good, tell the truth, help others. What else do you need? Don't indulge in your desires. Like, we all know what the fuck is going on. It's just a matter of fucking putting it in place. Everyone knows. If you look hard enough, you'll know. If you want to read a good fucking book on meaning in life, read the book by Viktor Frankl, Frankl. It's a short book. You'll finish it in a day. but it has most of the things you need to know in it. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. It's about Viktor Frankl's experience in the Nazi concentration camps during World War II. If you read that, you don't really need to listen to this. That will give you more answers than you need. Anyway, thank you, Adam, for your question. That'll do for tonight, and I'll see ya the fuck later.